first, and I wanted to have a quick look at some of the team fights we saw in the early game. I think this is really, really important because actually what we saw between a couple of these fights is how close on the knife's edge it was between these teams as to whether G2 could pull off their dive combo, finish off the fight, or if they couldn't quite do that, and Fnatic would roll things back around into their favor. So we're going to actually start off with one of the few real good fights they had in this game earlier into it. So if we could quickly start playing this clip through, we'll see some important factors which play into G2 actually pulling off their combo. First thing that is, of course, Humanoid getting a bit caught out in this mid lane, and he's not actually going to be available for the second act of this fight. That's Humanoid off the board. So if we actually pause at this point too, this is where some decision making comes into it, because if we go down here again, one thing which of course I like to do is look at this minimap, which I'm going to go click it again, is because you can also see at this point, you don't have Xayah, and of course, you don't have Humanoid. So that's two big damage sources on the bot side of the map, which you're playing without for this point. So let's just keep that in mind as we play this clip again a little more, as G2 realize they have the positioning on this fight and the numbers to make things stick. Fnatic still choose to try and contest this dragon, and that's where things start to go really quite poorly for them. You still don't have any of these returning members from Fnatic, and if we just pause again, this is where some things get a bit awkward, right? Because you're still trying to commit with a teleport, you're still trying to bring Xayah into this fight, but G2 have great ability to find that first kill with the members in this fight. Let's just play out the rest of it, because again, they snowball through the rest of it. They have also, importantly here, Lissandra able to roll over this with her passive coming into play. That's basically the story of this first pick. Fnatic weren't in position to defend that first kill going down, and the fight went poorly from that point. However, that's not something which G2 could replicate very easily. So if we switch over to the second clip, we want to see really what happens when G2 don't actually get that same situation and they can't get that first kill. So if we start playing this out, I think it's quite important to see now that Fnatic are approaching from a single angle and they have everyone here on time. If we pause very much at this point, let's see where the battle lines are drawn, because of course we have ourselves everyone Fnatic in one big line. That's something which G2 want to start diving into. They want to start going forward. But of course, one of the big champions which you have is, of course, Renata down on the side of Fnatic. Now, you've already used the ultimate, but that doesn't stop her being a very good disengaged champion. And we can see particularly what happens with her W when we get a little bit further into this. Play out a little bit more of this clip. See that G2 go for the first pick once again, and they don't get the kill. Also stopping here, I mean, it's already gone off at this point. Razork gets the Renata W, doesn't die. There are no Lissandra passives to come out. G2 don't finish off that first kill, and their snowbally teamfight composition does not achieve its main goal. Fnatic win that fight. That's pretty much all on the agenda I wanted to show from these first two clips. But you can see how close it was in getting this first kill, in determining how the rest of the fight played out. Anyway, the rest of this post-game is going to be broken down by those three at the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Alex. I think it showcases really well, those two telestrators, how both comps knew what they could do, and both comps could actually be successful in a team fight setting, but it did come down to execution. And sadly for G2, after that initial skerfuffle, they weren't able to get the timings right.
Yeah, I think G2 had the harder side to play in mid-game and late game, and I think that's Fnatic knew that they don't have to dive forward. They can just let G2 come to them and counter with Renata ult and W, right? And I think, especially with the Renata pick into Lissandra, it's like Lissandra wants to point and click one person, Renata clicks W, well, that person is still alive. So I think Viego Renata against Lissandra, very good combo.
Yeah, you're a big Renata fan, I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's my favorite champion. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it, but yeah, I really love the interaction that the frozen thralls didn't come out because the W from Renata just stopped it completely. And you know, I don't think it was intentional, but that was something that really halted what G2 wants to do.
And you do have to think then, in the preparation, they know Caps is 4-0 on the champion overall in Lissandra. You know you like to pick it into LeBlanc as we get something in our ear that is not. It's Vedius, actually. Shut up, Vedius.
Yeah, how are things?
Oh no, it was Nymaera.
Yeah,
anyways.
don't they?
Oh no, the meme.
You did it.
In any case, you do see that maybe in the preparation they knew that the Lissandra could get picked into the LeBlanc, and then they said, it's fine, we still have the Renata because it counters your Lissandra. Let's take a look at the late game team fight. It wasn't even in the late game, it was in the mid to late game. But this all comes down to Humanoid versus Caps.
Yeah, I think you look here at Caps trying to ult Humanoid, and Humanoid Zhonya's it. That completely shuts down the fight for G2. I think if Caps ulted himself there could be a fight to be had, but with Humanoid stopwatching the ult from Caps, really clutch there. I think Fnatic just rolls over the fight.
That's the thing. It's G2's inability to play a front to back. This composition can be super good if you can just CC down an opponent and they die immediately. The problem is that doesn't happen, and you don't really have all too many factors in your composition that allows you to play an extended team fight. Like, you have one frontline real tank in the Nautilus, and outside of that, the rest will just get one-shot by the LeBlanc. So I think Fnatic, as soon as they got that big gold lead, it became very difficult for G2 to navigate the map, really.
They can be deadly with a gold lead. In our battle of the mid laners and Humanoid versus Capt, it was Humanoid that struck first on LeBlanc. The stats are insane, but the whole team really stepped up. So let's pull up the picks and bans. G2 have chosen blue side, which is no surprise, of course. And do you guys think that the choices they made in their composition for game 1 were the ones that were really at fault, or was it just execution, or are there some crucial alterations that need to be made, Guldborg?
Well, so far I think that I was actually speaking to Treatz a little bit about it, and after the first game, I'm like, I don't know if playing so heavy up towards the top side was really the play in the end. It's a very difficult matchup to play. Well, not matchup specifically, but more like in terms of getting top lane rolling and snowballing through top side, especially because it's so Drake favored meta as well. So playing through bot side usually opens up more in the early game. And also, I'm curious to see now that the G2 that were talking in those interviews, they were talking about, well, we've shown multiple playstyles. I'd like to see that now, though, and I'd like to see you attack the Fnatic bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't quite give up that fast if I was G2. I think that both teams played with a bit of nerves in the first game. I think there wasn't really any super hard sides to play for from either side. They were just happy kind of farming it out, and then I think Fnatic showed that they had an edge in team fight. But I agree that maybe it's time to shake it up a bit. I wouldn't go like fully into topside, right? I think that they should just have a bit more of a balanced draft and not allow themselves to be countered so easily, which I think blue side helps with.
A lot it came down to also was kind of decision-making and timing around objectives, and we know both of these teams do love to fight around those objectives, which team doesn't, and you said it yourself, Dragon is so important. Now, Fnatic actually usually in all of their games get the first Dragon because of the power they can put down in the bot lane. So would it be enough to make sure that you have a band-aid at least for that first Dragon to stop the snowball?
I mean, I don't think it doesn't necessarily need to come down to those objectives, because even like Razork was still caught slipping in this game as well. The decision-making wasn't fully clean from Fnatic. Make no mistake, this wasn't Fnatic at their best, and by no means it wasn't G2 at their best either. So I definitely think, as you mentioned as well, Treatz, like nerfs coming into the first best of 5, and you can allow yourself to bounce back now.
All right, a lot up in the air. Fnatic dominated game 1, and they're looking to keep up the pace going into the next one. Let's send it straight back to the casters for the draft.
Thank you very much, Sjokz. I'm still Medic, that's still Caedrel. On the end is still Vedius with his 70s English rock band, indie punk, more indie punk hair than anything else. I quite like it, man. I think it looks really nice.
I appreciate that. You know, it's nice to try things up a little bit. You know, my hair needs to be cut, and so the makeup artist said, "Do you want to just curl it?" And I was like, "Sure."
I've wanted to put waves in my hair for a long time, but it's a lot of maintenance.
When are you going to grow your hair out, Mark?
I used to have it when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, my hair was over my eyes.
Did you have an emo phase?
Yeah. Oh, I've been trying for a long time. It just doesn't work that well.
All right, well, we're going to be jumping into Fnatic versus G2. A dominant performance in game 1. Let's see if G2 can bounce back right after the hype intro music.
So G2 now on the blue side, as they selected that because they lost game 1. Caitlyn banned out once again. I wonder if we'll see Zeri removed from the pool alongside the Jinx that we saw in game 1.
Or are they going to first pick it? Maybe G2 might fancy themselves a first pick Zeri. TF ban on blue side is also very interesting. Shows G2 don't really want to play it this series whatsoever. Maybe they don't feel like first picking TF is the way they want to play this game. Very odd bans coming out now. Lucian taken away by Fnatic. Want to make sure that's not happening for maybe BrokenBlade in top lane. Caps in mid. Hecarim still open again. Lee Sin still open.
The volley bear, to me, suggests that Razork is looking at that Lee Sin pick with big gleaming eyes. He's saying, you know what, I want to try and get that for myself. It does suggest that they expect G2 to prioritize something different. Will we see the early Nautilus once again? Will we see the Hecarim potentially let through?
Will we see a Jace first pick as well? This is something very common T1 does. I feel like looking at G2's drafts, they've been watching a lot of T1 games with their early rotations. Maybe they think Lee Sin first pick could be good, or a Jace first pick could also work. There's a lot open right now, it feels like, and ADs are banned away. Maybe an AD first pick would make the most sense with this many down.
I'm not too surprised to see the Hecarim come through there. Well, we saw it being highly prioritized in terms of the picks and bans yesterday. Unsurprisingly, we're going to see that already. Very strong engage, great early jungle clear. Not the strongest duelist, but still offers so much as the game progresses that it is very versatile in a number of compositions.
Xayah, it's been rising a lot the last couple of weeks. The lethality Xayah and LeBlanc already just slammed in straight for Humanoid. Confidence there after game 1, thinking that maybe G2's answer of Lissandra just wasn't good enough.
Remember that the Vex was banned in game 1. Perhaps G2 will try to respond by going for a Vex here, perhaps earlier, to try and get themselves a good matchup. Of course, Caps could go for something a little bit safer if you wanted to. Victor is something that not like a strong counter pick, but can mitigate a lot of the pressure, offer you stronger scaling team fighting. I do think Caps still has a number of options, but it very much depends on what they want to prioritize. I'd be surprised if we saw a Nautilus here playing into the Xayah. I wonder if Targamas has, well, we know he has something else stored, given that he's played so many different supports this split.
Could pick Jace, could go Nautilus into the LeBlanc. My question is, what is Fnatic's jungler right now if they drop jungle till 4-5? Because I think Rakan on 3 would make a lot of sense for them. Gives you good... Okay, for a second I thought that was going to be a Janna blind pick. Janna blind pick bot, so had me tease there for a bit. Caps, but Karma locked in. That might be an Aphelios Karma
That's a
bot.
flex, surely, though,
That
right?
might be a Karma Hecarim mid-jungle as well. Could also be for top, so a big flex here for G2.
If it is for top, it wouldn't really be something we've seen BrokenBlade utilize in the past, much more carry-oriented to top laners rather than those supportive. Viego, once again, though, for Razork, had a very good game on it in game 1 with the help of Hylissang, and now looking to bring it out once again. Renata's still an option, of course, for Fnatic if they want to look for that reset composition that worked out so well just a few moments ago.
They have a lot of options. We're moving into the second ban phase. The Vex, once again, going to be removed from Caps' hands. You know, I'm looking at some of the champions that he has played during the regular season. I also see Caedrel on there as well, and I'm like, surely not, right? Surely not.
Surely not with things like Karma and Hecarim. Renata taken away. Maybe Fnatic just going to drop another mid lane ban.
I actually really like it as a ban into Hecarim as well, because if Hecarim engages, you've got Featherstorm, you've got the LeBlanc who can jump away, you've got the Viego who can jump away, and then if Renata is ulting onto the Hecarim, anyone that's trying to chase behind him is going to get caught in that hostile takeover.
Do you think that Rakan could be the next ban here for G2? Do you think it's worth denying the Xayah Rakan, especially Hilly's Rakan?
I was just about to say, not only is it Xayah Rakan, it's also Hylissang's Rakan. And, you know, it always makes me laugh, that meme. You know, like, how could you let this champion open and they list like 7 different Hilly champions? Because he's so well known, like his Pyke, his Rakan, and now his Renata are all becoming his Thresh. He has so many champions that he's so well known for. And it seems that G2 is instead going to remove that safe blind pick option towards top, because expectations are that Wunder could just blind this Jace. There aren't many answers in terms of the top lane, and then they can give counter pick for Hylissang.
This gives a lot of information over it. Do they want to counter pick top or support? So they're going to go for Nautilus straight away. They don't know where the Karma's going, but they actually value the counter pick top here with their current draft. So where is the Karma going? It could go to 3 roles right now. I think all 3 players are very capable of playing it, and they've shown that they've completed it in the past. But Nautilus, good secure engage, good follow-up. The Gnar hover suggests to me that it could be a mid-support. Aphelios Karma would be good for push, but again, into Xayah Nautilus, they have a lot of kill pressure.
They definitely do, but something we did want from G2 was a lane that could get the push early on, and Aphelios Karma, as you say, will definitely be able to do that on the bottom side. Working through some mid lane champs here. Targamas hovering over a few, but it does look like it's going to be a Karma support with Caps highlighting something different in this mid lane.
Or is it the Braum into Nautilus? Aphelios Braum.
Why would you do this to me, Targamas?
Yeah, Braum just notoriously good into melee support, so they're playing for lane a little bit there. And then the Karma mid for Caps into Humanoid's LeBlanc, kind of taking on a mantle of a bit of a supportive role here, Caps.
So when we look at G2's comp, for pretty solid team fighting, right? You have a lot of wombo combo in terms of the Gnar, pretty good engage with the Hecarim. You also have solid counter engage, but also decent follow-up with the Braum. And then Karma just facilitates and supports all of that.
Braum?
And then, yes, that is Ornn into Braum.
Well, it's just that it's like Braum is traditionally a counter to Ornn because you put the Unbreakable up, right?
I guess that they just wanted some type of engage. Well, I mean, they already have the Nautilus. I guess they wanted more engage. I guess their concern is the Karma.
Yeah, because she can just get away from you pretty easily, I guess, with the mantra'd E.
Yeah, I think what Fnatic were looking at there is they had a couple options. They could have gone for something like Camille, like a split pusher into the Gnar, play for top, but they think that playing for bot side is what they want to do right now with this Ornn pick. I mean, Humanoid can also get a lot of resources. It's just kind of like a neutralizing top. And Gnar, it will struggle, of course, because of the range advantage. Maybe BrokenBlade can get the push in this matchup, but yeah, Fnatic just matching team fighting with team fighting here.
I also think that Fnatic may be concerned about their ability to actually get onto the backline. Because when you look at where the damage is coming from, a lot of this will revolve around Flakked and his ability to actually create space. And especially when you pair that with a Braum, he has so much more protection. And if they'd gone for more of a carry top laner, playing into a Braum instantly becomes a lot harder, so why not just offer a few more engage options to make that tool or access a little bit easier?
And as much as there is that Ornn into Braum counter, you know, Braum can put up the shield and stop the Ornn ultimate, there's plenty of things that Braum will be looking to shield. The feathers coming out from the Xayah, the Nautilus hook coming out as well. If you navigate around it properly, you can still have impactful ultimates on the Ornn in this game. G2 looking for a bit more focus on the bottom side, a little bit more of a team fight orientated composition, and they need something to bounce back against Fnatic. It's game 2 coming up next. And onto the Rift we go. G2 setting up in the mid lane, but wards already coming out from Fnatic. One in the pixel bush there will spot out a possible late invade here from the G2 lineup.
Oh, a Humanoid going for a very early sweeper. Potentially looking for an early roam. Remember that when playing into a Karma lane, normally it's a very boring lane. Any mid laner that's played that matchup knows that pretty much it's push, wave clear, leave. Karma very uninteractive, much more about the scaling and utility later.
Yeah, I think G2 will go for a late invade here. I mean, they're hovering for it, or they're just going to back off. I mean, invading with Hecarim sucks, but late invading with Braum is fantastic. So you have kind of like a push and pull here, where one's good, one's bad. Looks like they're not going to do it in the end. Fnatic warding both entrances towards the bot side river to make sure that they're not getting late invaded on the bot side, and Razork will path down there as expected.
So, nothing too chaotic or crazy in this early game. Looks like Jankos will start leechless, so that Flakked and Targamas can get into lane. Expectations are that with a Braum lane early on, you can struggle in terms of being able to get the push, and Fnatic already posturing very far up in the lane to be able to contest that wave.
Yeah, and something I want to track here from Razork on his second game on Viego here is his item start. Gone for the 1 health potion pink. We'll see how he uses that control ward as he does his full clear. It's both junglers starting red, and they're going to path opposite sides. So
notice the Airy on top of upset as well. Offers a little bit more poke during the laning phase. We already saw that in the 2 versus 2, throwing out that Q very early on and taking a chunk of health away from Flakked.
Every time I see a Karma in mid and Caps' name there, I think of Caps versus Perks in that finals when he was playing Zoe, but now it's Caps on the Karma against Humanoid's LeBlanc. I think there'll be a very slow early game. Both junglers want to full clear. Mid lane don't really see much action. Top lane neither so much for G2, so I think both of these teams just trying to play for resets, play for waves right now. There isn't anything explosive that needs to happen in the early stages.
We will see Flakked and Targamas getting that first level 2, getting a little bit more control. This will give them access to the river, a little bit more information, keeping track of what Jankos is up to. For now, he's doing the full clear towards the bot side of the map, but he is now making his way towards the river. Looks like it's just a drop a ward. Deciding not to go for any crazy invade. There was the option, because bot lane did of course have the bush, as you already mentioned. Braum early levels can just make potentially weaker champions that much stronger thanks to the passive, but instead G2 just going to play it safe for the time being, not going to do anything too aggressive for now.
Braum passive, just in case you don't know what it is, concussive blows. If you proc 4 attacks on a champion after Braum has hit them with a spell or an auto attack, they then get stunned for, I think it's a second, might be half a second, but it's very good because you can continually proc it on different people in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, and one small mechanic we have to track in this bot matchup is how Braum uses his shield, because Xayah's E is most of her damage. Yes, her Q will be a bit of poke, but he's probably going to have to use the E backwards sometimes to block a lot of the Xayah damage coming in if there is some all-in trades in bots. So we'll have a look at that, but for now, Fnatic stacking away, that's bouncing into G2.
Just checked for you, Medic. 1.25 seconds
1.25
is the stun from his passive.
That's so long.
Yeah.
That's longer than Leona Q, just the natural stun on that.
Braum broken.
Passive,
what can we say?
You do have to land 4 auto attacks to get it off.
Broken.
Jankos hovering towards the top side, looking to make something happen. Top Wunder's wave is pushing out. We'll see if he does go for this here. He's going to pop the Ghost.
Wunder could get pushed back here. Of course, the Bellows Breath makes him invulnerable to CC. He gets underneath the tower with a good little charge and able to escape. Ghost used there by Jankos. Control ward placed behind the red buff here as Razork may look for a bot lane dive. Junglers on other sides of the map trying to make things happen. With this wave pushing in, with the next wave joining it, and it being a cannon minion wave, it would be great to force Flakked and Targamas off this. If you are Fnatic, you could make them lose a lot of XP and a lot of gold. Razor's going to step forward, Blade of the Ruin King used there. Flakked trying to walk away. Jankos on his way as well. Spectral more channeled. The Winter Spike goes wide. And Flakked is still going to get Hylissang underneath the tower. Hylissang, what? Hilly! That was one of the worst bit of support plays I've seen in a long time.
If you don't love him at his best, you don't deserve him at his worst.
Oh, that is just classic Hylissang, isn't it? You can very clearly see the Hecarim walking in lane. Braum still has all of his skills up, and Hylissang says, I can engage that, and it ends up going horribly. G2 draw first blood.
It goes the other way around, actually. If you don't love him at his worst, you don't deserve him at his best. And this is just a case of classic Hylissang, isn't it? I mean, they saw Jankos, right? Razork was backing off for that reason.
Pro player, break the logic down on this one.
I mean, they should have.
It's Hylissang, that's the logic.
The only excuse I have for him is maybe they didn't see Jankos in time, but I'm pretty sure they did. But here he comes again. He doesn't want them to crash his bot wave. He's level 3, has flash up, no ignite.
He's going to step forward onto Targamas, a level down at the moment, as you say. Does have that flash, and Flakked should be able to walk away. This wave will crash into the tower, so Fnatic won't be able to freeze it.
I love Hylissang.
Yeah,
I just have to say,
I love him too.
I absolutely love him.
And I will say, it's an ongoing theme of this, you know, coin flip player. Sometimes you get an incredible player that totally dominates the map, and sometimes you get a little bit of int as he dives underneath the tower. But we actually haven't seen Hilly be that coin flip this season, and that's why a lot of people are putting him up as an MVP. He has so often landed heads when he's flipped that coin. It is rare to see him do something like that these days.
Yeah, that's one of the few times I can remember this kind of thing happening, this split in isolation. But Fnatic actually losing out on the play, but winning out on the end because Hylissang good def, maybe. Because as G2 wanted to push out, they chased them down, cancelled Flakked's base, and now they get a wave crashed in. 10 CS lead to upset, a plate as well. So I think bot lane is probably pretty even. Jankos got the kill, of course, BrokenBlade.
Just to be able to put some damage down here onto Wunder. Wunder very safe on the Ornn. Bellows Breath, of course, means that you are unstoppable, can't be CC'd. Underneath the tower, he should be okay. BrokenBlade going into mini Gnar can just harass.
And Wunder, coming from G2 last year, I think the biggest question I had in my head was, what is Wunder's job in this Fnatic lineup? I mean, you had Adam, who was very volatile and explosive. It's like, where does Wunder fit in? Is he going to be a carry like he was in 2019? Is he going to be the tank player he's been for the last 2 years? And I feel like he's kind of a bit of both. He can play Jace. We saw it last game. He can play a little bit strong side. You can play for him. But he's so experienced, one of the most veteran top laners we've got in the league, that he's fine doing basically anything. And I think that's so crucial for Fnatic and how they want to play.
It's very flexible, and I think that, especially when you think of Humanoid on the Mad Lions, when he was paired with Armut, we saw a lot of variance in terms of his expectations and performance. Whereas when you pair him up with Wunder, you kind of have that very reliable and safe top side, and then also a very reliable and safe bot side for the most part with Upset and Hylissang. And Humanoid, I think that just opens him up to be the volatile playmaker that we all know him to be and what he has so much success on. So especially, it was Yamato that at the beginning of the split tweeted, "We won the off-season." He also said not winning would be a failure. So the expectations are high for this Fnatic roster.
Yeah, and I think that versatility is so important when you're looking internationally. I mean, metas change at the click of a finger when it comes to summer, when it comes to Worlds. So having players that can play multiple different roles, whether it's jungle, top or mid, carry style, support-oriented style, frontline style, I think Wunder kind of checks all those boxes.
And I think that when we look at G2's evolution, as I may have to hold this because pings are coming down onto Upset and Hilly, Jankos does have level 6, decided not to commit for it. But when we think of G2, their adaptation was actually, in my opinion, kind of a step back to their style of 2019. When you look at Targamas, a very roam-heavy player, a carry topside, and kind of moving away from playing primarily towards their AD carry and actually playing more towards mid and unlocking the rest of the map and kind of going back to what they found success with back in 2019.
Yeah, famous quote I remember from Upset in Euphoria maybe last year was, we asked him how is it laning against kind of like Perks or something in 2019, and he was like, well, it doesn't really matter because they have 3 fakers topside. So yeah, there's not much I can do. But anyway, maybe that's, yeah, like you said, G2 trying to get that more topside orientated style going in here. Caps playing more of a supportive role, a little bit of cross mapping coming in here. G2 might not be able to enter their own lane here because Razork's on the way and Jankos is on Herald. They're going to fight their way through.
One of the problems and one of the benefits of Aphelios as BrokenBlade continues to put damage down onto Wunder. Call to the Forge God coming in, Ring. Wunder looking for this with the unsealed spell book, but Caps is on his way up here as well. Wunder with the Ignite and with the Flash can try and get away underneath the tower, will be safe and lives to fight another day.
He's just tanking it all, isn't he? And now a cross map in the bot lane for Fnatic.
Razork gets the Spectral more stun. Still Flash is available for Flakked and Targamas. Razork going forward. There's the depth, the Drench line coming out as the heal is used. Targamas stunned once again, though. There is the shield, and he keeps himself alive as Wunder is forced back in the top lane.
Yeah, and there we see Wunder's drop straight away. He's soaking all of the pressure from G2, so the Fnatic bot lane, what can they do? They can get bot push, they can force the enemy bot lane out, they can even herald this tower if they want to, but it doesn't look like they're going to. G2 has the herald, I believe, so they're not going to herald it, they're just going to get plates for upset, get a good base, get a dragon as well, objectives in their back pocket, and G2 are going to trade it for resources top. Small kind of gold lead going in favor of BrokenBlade now.
Respect to Targamas holding his flash that entire time. I really thought he'd be forced to commit it, but Fnatic, they just could not get it out of him. Of course, Flakked losing all of his summoners and upset, getting himself 4 plates on top of having a nearly 30 CS advantage, showcases the two very clear identity differences with these teams. I mean, it was discussed at length when expectations arose around this matchup. Topside focus versus bot-side focus. Last game, I think it was a very timid early game where it was actually just trading across the board. This time around, we're seeing a much greater investment from both teams towards their respective sides.
Yeah, and where's the investment of the Herald's going to go? Jankos could repay his bot lane here. When they get a push out, give them a Herald, get a little bit more gold onto Flakked so they stabilize bot lane a bit more, or just keep accelerating top. Which one are they going to go for? Because right now he's passing towards the bot side. Caps has got a pretty good job of kind of neutralizing mid with his Karma pick. He's been roaming quite often. Has TP coming up, same as Humanoid. Hylissang looking on bot.
Targamas trying to get away. Feathers going down from upset. Featherstorm used. Flakked will be able to escape from the root, and Targamas had to burn his flash to get out of that one. Jankos coming in, and Caps is on the way as well. Razork still has a flash of his own. Hylissang, of course, none for him. Onslaught of Shadow's going to knock him back. Rampage coming out as well as Hylissang is rooted up, able to escape with the death charge. Targamas dashing forward underneath the tower. The Heartbreaker from Razork will get him to safety, but G2 able to answer here, and they will be able to put some gold into their AD carry's pocket if they want with this Rift Herald.
Yeah, like we just talked about, Caps is roaming around the map, shows up top, shows up bot now, and Humanoid's just farming all the meanwhile, gonna get some plates in his back pocket. Maybe G2 will get the bot tower here with the Herald. We'll see if they opt to use it, because BrokenBlade's winning in isolation.
Yeah, really good dodge there from BrokenBlade as the charge came out by Wunder. Rift Herald you would expect will be used on this mid lane, on this bot lane wave. Humanoid getting forced out by Caps, trying to dodge away from the chains. Humanoid doesn't even invest them, knowing that he had a good advantage. Ignite once again for Wunder in the top lane. Gnar being built up by BrokenBlade, and he will survive with the flash away. That Ignite will tick, but won't take him out.
Very close trade there. Wunder almost getting himself a solo kill onto BrokenBlade, but it is G2 that find themselves with a 2k gold lead, regardless of the investment that Fnatic have put towards bot side. A lot of respect has to be given to Caps here. He's roamed top, helped set up a dive, didn't result in a kill onto Wunder, but did give over a lot of plates. Then he does the same thing bot. He's just sacrificing waves, giving Humanoid a lot of lane control and levels over him, but it doesn't matter. He's playing much more towards the team, primarily being that support and actually putting G2 ahead.
And that balance between Humanoid and Caps is such an important one for us to see. It's Caedrel, I think you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, no, Caps, I was just going to say, is very good, I think, when it comes to roaming champions. Whether it's a champion that can roam proactively on something like TF or Galio or Ryze, or a pushing lane. We've seen Yasuo roams from him, and Irelia roams when it was meta. Even supportive style. The only thing I have concern now for G2 is you have a Chem Tank Hecarim, you have a Moonstone Karma, you have very, very supportive frontline mid-jungle right now. You have a Braum as well, and Gnar is going to be sort of like a side laner for you. So there's a lot of pressure on Flakked here to step up in these fights. Yes, he got this tower, and maybe the gold is kind of even up between him and Upset, but he's down in experience, and he's down in CS right now.
I mean, we talked about it in the draft, right? When you look at this composition, a lot of the responsibility will fall on him, and I think that he's got a great composition to build around him and protect him, and if that was a reckless tag, I think a lot of people at home would have faith in his ability to 1v9, but this is not typically the role that we see Flakked in. This is not usually his position or responsibility on the team, so a lot of weight is on his shoulders right now.
Oh, really? Hylissang has to try and flash away, but the Onslaught of Shadow is going to keep him in place. Caps once again with Rude as well. No escape for Hylissang, you have to feel. Jankos can chase him down here. Jankos will take his second kill of the game.
Going in top, Razork pops the ult, but BrokenBlade will just jump away and drop an emote.
Should be able to escape. Actually, BrokenBlade could try and turn this one back around. He's got the Gnar coming out. No flash for him, but a Gnar into the wall here could be big. Humanoid on his way up will be spotted on the control ward when he gets towards this lane. But
does he know?
He knows now.
Yes, he does. I assumed that he didn't overcommit because he was afraid of Humanoid going missing. Now Jankos looking for a kill on Upset.
And Upset, really, what can he do against this Hecarim Turbo Chem Tank coming out? He's forced away. Of course, the tower here already dead means that Upset can just stand underneath his tier 2 and catch the wave.
And Humanoid showing top there is the first real glimpse we've got of him outside of his lane. Yes, he's doing above 10 CS per minute right now, and he has 2 plates, but Humanoid, once he gets that first item, he needs to be a little bit more explosive in juggling these side lanes. He's just completed the Ludens from the Lost Chapter, so a big spike for him. I think Humanoid is online now. G2 needs to be very wary of where his roams are going.
If we look back to game one, it was G2 actually had a slight advantage in the early game. They got themselves a couple of kills. They're actually ahead in terms of kills around this mark. And then it was the first Dragon fight, or maybe it was the second, that really turned the game in Fnatic's favor. It was the team fighting that turned the game in Fnatic's favor. And here, G2 once again in the lead, about 2,000 gold ahead. The question is, can they carry this lead through subsequent fights, and fights that are likely to happen around this Ocean Dragon?
Definitely are. Spawning in 5 seconds. We'll see what soul is rolled, because I think Infernal Mountain and Hextech would all be very important for both of these comps. G2 forced out of mid right now because Caps can't get the push, so instead they're going to go through bot, it looks like. Caps is going to have to find a way to join the team.
But BrokenBlade did get the reset off before Wunder, already making his way towards the Drake. This will give G2 numbers advantage, and they have control over the bot wave, and they're making their way towards the river.
Very odd situation here, because Fnatic are poising to contest this, but Wunder is miles away right now. BrokenBlade's already here, but the engage is slowly started.
Look at the damage. It doesn't really matter if Wunder is miles away, because already it's a 4v4 down towards this bottom side. Heartbreaker coming out from Razork as he looks for the chase. Flakked, Moonlight Vigil's going to hit a few. Not the best guns for AoE damage, but the crescendo is stacked up. As you say, the Forge God on his way down. Make a collect call to his god for a second call of the Forge God is available for Wunder, but the Dragon has already fallen as Flakked takes it. Here comes the Ram. It only founds Flakked in the back of the pit, but look at Caps already going to kill off Hylissang. Humanoid's going to try and dump in. Flakked has so many chakrams, but he cannot use them. Upset force back to his tower. G2 come out 1-for-1 in the fight. BrokenBlade may still continue to chase. The chains dissuade him from that as Razork jumps onto the backline. Heartbreaker away, but dodged by Jankos. Humanoid continues to try and put the damage down, but now Wunder has to flash the wall, and G2 take 2 in the Dragon.
Massive props to G2 here. They really are enabling Flakked, and they're doing a great job of keeping him alive. I saw Hylissang and Wunder try to dive on top of him, and then Hylissang just disappeared off my screen. The amount of damage that Flakked was able to throw out, and the way in which G2 are playing these fights looked very good for the first fight of the game.
Yeah, so Fnatic engage initially and they get a kill, so it's a 5v4 in their favor. That's why they fancy the engage, but like you said, Vedi, Hylissang goes on to Flakked, but G2 aren't really peeling for him. He's peeling for himself. He just flashed away. The chakrams are just scaring them too much. BrokenBlade has Mega Gnar coming up, and it looks like Fnatic are forced back. The most important thing to me here is the turn from Fnatic, because they think their team's in trouble. Wunder comes around the side. Now watch BrokenBlade's Mega Gnar. He actually uses it to cancel Wunder's knockup, which does so much work because Flakked has no flash.
So
if he doesn't cancel that, maybe, I think the Gale Force maybe could have dodged it. I don't know how the buffer timing would have gone through, but Humanoid had a window there, and BrokenBlade slammed it shut.
G2 playing these fights very well. You're right, I thought it was Flakked that got the kill to Hylissang, but it was actually Caps' Q that just popped him out of existence. But I think we're seeing some of the difficulties, and part of the reason why I think they decided to go for the Ornn in draft, because when we see how these fights play, G2 have that very typical front-to-back teamfight comp with the kind of protect the AD carry style, and Fnatic need to find ways of getting around it. When there's so much peel, you kind of need that CC tool, as BrokenBlade is forced to flash away. So Fnatic right now on the back foot. I still think they have some tools when it comes to the team fights. They're not that far behind, especially on their carries, but G2 looking a lot more confident here in Game 2.
And we heard the story of this rivalry from Quickshot at the start of the day, but you see it enacted in these first 2 games as well. Game 1, Fnatic domination from about the 15-minute mark. Game 2, G2 strike back. And over the years, it has just been back and forth between Fnatic and G2 to see who is the best in Europe. This year, perhaps not quite fighting for the best yet, but over the next few weeks, we will quite possibly see one of these 2 teams crowned King of Europe again.
Yeah, G2 1 title ahead of Fnatic. Fnatic must be fuming seeing that. I think they're desperate for one this split. And they were poised in Game 1, but G2 now ahead in Game 2. Jankos
should be able to walk away from that one. G2 have 4 players on this top side of the map. Humanoid is splitting down towards the bottom lane, does have the TP, and will take the tier 1 tower.
Very odd here from G2 because they have there's a mid-tier 1 up for Fnatic. They could have just heralded mid and looked for a play there, where they went for some kind of 4-1 on the top tier 2, but they just lost their bot tower, so bit of an odd play overall. Jankos completing Frozen Heart. There's 2 items on this Hecarim, extremely tanky now, and I think Fnatic are going to struggle with that front line because you've got a Lethality Xayah, an Ornn and a Nautilus, and the LeBlanc is trying to look for the carry, so I feel like Razork with the Sunder is going to do the most damage to these tanks. We'll see what upset can get done because it's very hard to dive onto a Xayah, so G2 need to play these fights very smart with the Mantra ease.
Fnatic continuing just to try and find someone in the side lane. BrokenBlade giving respect to the fact that Humanoid could be here. The Hex Gates we've already seen utilized by both these teams. I wonder if they'll have an impact on the way the game goes. It does give you a lot more speed, a lot more pace when you're trying to make a split map happen, because you can just Hex Gate into the enemy blue buff and place down some vision, but BrokenBlade undiveable, it seems, at least in the minds of Fnatic.
I think the reason the game is slowed down so much is Flakked has no flash, and he's scared of Wunder having one move into mid and Ornn ulting him, and then Razork and Hilly just kind of jumping on top of him. They're being very cautious. Look at Flakked's positioning. They have Herald. They could use it mid, but they've got it for so long that they can slow down a bit, wait for side push. BrokenBlade pushing top now. Maybe they find an opening in the next couple 30 seconds to a minute, but Dragon spawning in 50. So maybe just save it. Wait for the Dragon to spawn, and then put Fnatic in a lose-lose option. I think that's what G2 might be thinking about.
Very true. As you rightly identified there, Caedrel, I think G2 have a lot of options at their disposal. They pushed out top.
Really?
Wunder just caught bot, and now the mid contest begins once again. 38 seconds on the Drake. And we see that mid-battle dance. Hilly looking.
Hilly lands the hook, but the Unbreakable's coming out. Look at the damage already onto Flakked. He's still alive, but in the end he goes down. Humanoid takes him. Razork will pay for the fight with his life, but that's 2 quick kills over to either team.
Big mistake from Flakked. He just walked up and got hooked. He had no flash. This was the window that Fnatic wanted. So now it's a 3v3 with Dragon in 10-15 seconds. Jankos has Herald, so they still have an advantageous play macro-wise, but 3 for 3, a 2 for 2 is not what G2 would have wanted.
All of the damage has also disappeared for G2 while Humanoid and Upset still live, but Humanoid could be in danger.
Humanoid's going to get chased out here. Onslaught Shadow's not available, but BrokenBlade looking for the building, lands it. Humanoid dashes away towards the bottom side, can dash back, of course, as Wunder's coming across. He uses the dash back, and then his clone saves him from the Mantrid in a flame, but Humanoid still chased. Dashes once again, the distorts to safety by Humanoid.
Hex gates are coming in. Hylissang's back, Razork's back, so is the bot lane of G2. Fnatic could TP back in here with LeBlanc, with Humanoid, but it looks like this Dragon's gonna melt. It's gone straight away, but Fnatic might find themselves the fights. We'll see how Hylissang poises in this. They have a mid wave. They could look for a tower.
I think what's crazy here is that I felt that after that fight, Fnatic was in the better position, but then they split up. Humanoid was trying to control the river, and he ends up getting caught out. He does commit his TP to trying to secure the top tower. Upset will also secure the mid one, so while the Drake does go in favor of G2, Fnatic are getting a lot of standing gold sitting on the map. They will close that gold gap ever so slightly, but this game continues to be tense. BrokenBlade found Hylissang.
Hylissang does have flash here, and he's got Wunder in the wings. The heal coming out from Wunder on that unsealed spellbook. A great Gnar back from BrokenBlade. Pulls Hylissang back to his death. And Hylissang once again just overstepping slightly on this Nautilus.
So many plays back and forth. G2 using all their tempo, committing their bot lane from base to secure that Dragon. And good identification from Fnatic to get those 2 towers, but a bit of an overextension from Hylissang means that the game is in an evenish state. More Dragons to G2, a small gold lead, but it all comes to the back of this hook, which Flakked should not get hit by. This should never really happen when Dragon's spawning in 30 seconds and your team's collapsing in.
You're completely right, Caedrel. It felt like that G2 were playing so aware and safe, given the lack of flash, but it ends up falling short in the end. The fact that G2 is still, though, able to get 2 kills off the back of that, Jankos and BrokenBlade, that consistent DPS over time, still paying off. The Herald was just about to run out.
Flakked just deleted. He gets one in response, though, somehow. In the matter of a second, he was gone, and he still found one. Gnar going in. BrokenBlade gets the knockback. Call to the board, got in a great choke point. As Razork gets onto the back line, he's looking for Caps. Caps trying to get away, healing himself back up. The shields, the heals on Caps, still alive somehow. Jankos and BrokenBlade now need to retreat from Upset, Hylissang and Wunder. Razork diving back in. The hook onto Jankos, but the onslaught of Shadows is back up, and Caps now goes on a killing spree. Wunder has flash to try and escape. The Hex Gate there as well, taunting him as he flashes across the wall. 2 kills over to G2 for only 1 in response.
Wow, Caps and Targamas come up clutch there. If Razork was able to get that reset, that could have been a very different fight, but the Karma cooldowns, and the survivability and tankability of this Karma buys enough time for G2 to turn the fight in their favor. Flakked, while he does drop, Humanoid dropping in exchange means that the fight is still a very close one, but G2 just about come out on top.
Oh, Flakked needs to be very careful in this best of 5. The longer the series goes on, his positioning is very aggressive. Look how far forward he's stepping up. Gets rooted, gets popped, but he does manage to get the auto in, I think, and they do manage to get the kill in the end. And now that your main damage source is down, it's very hard for G2 to find a kill. BrokenBlade uses all his damage onto the bot lane of Fnatic, but you can see G2 really struggle to take one member down, so Razork can commit, but luckily for them, like you said, Vedius, they have so much survivability with the shield, double Frozen Heart, BrokenBlade's in Mega Gnar, Targamas is peeling. It's very hard for Razork to gap close or even get a kill.
Props to BrokenBlade, though. He really did make that fight difficult for Upset to play. He just committed so much to zoning the Xayah away that there was no real way for him to gain access into the fight. So with him also gone, it's funny, Fnatic was really lacking in damage themselves, so they couldn't really close things out. So G2 still playing these team fights much better than compared to game 1.
And I must say, this LeBlanc of Humanoid, it was fantastic last game. It's fed now, but what options does he have to kill people right now? It's only Flakked. Caps is full tank on this Karma. He's going to build towards a magic resist item now as well. Jankos can't die. BrokenBlade's going to build towards tanky items now as well, and Targamas can block a lot of it. So the only target for Fnatic is Flakked. He needs to make sure he can survive these fights.
He still has his flash up. He did have it in the last exchange, didn't end up using it. Humanoid the same. But you're right, we talked about this. That normally when we look at G2, it's about BrokenBlade, it's about Caps. These are the carries, these are your superstars, whereas Flakked is the facilitator. But now he's being put on the pedestal to carry for his team. And he has been caught out a few times, but right now he's in a good position.
So no one taking tower yet. The Gnar to the water. Hylissang look to just defend Wunder. Call of Portugal coming out, eaten up by the Unbreakable Shield. Hylissang down. Went a little bit greedy there, thinking the rest of Fnatic could follow up. Humanoid was spotted on a ward towards the side. If you can keep vision on LeBlanc, she becomes a nullified threat a lot of the time. Yes, she can jump in, but you have so many tools to lock her up as she dives forward. There she goes onto Jankos. Takes about a third of his HP. Upset still putting the damage down as well, as G2 continue to try and advance their vision line around this next dragon.
But look at how Humanoid is just tickling the front line of G2. Every time he goes in, he barely takes any health bar off of Jankos, and there's just so much front line on the side of G2. What's crazy is, well, I mean, now the magic resist is starting to come through, especially for Jankos and Caps, but like BrokenBlade only sitting on the Merc Treads for the time being. Now we can see another null magic mantle picked up for Targamas, and as the game progresses, it's actually only going to get harder for Humanoid to deal damage as more and more magic resist is built.
Chase here onto Razork. Jankos goes in on Sword of Shadows, a possibility, and he'll use it. Heartbreaker used to try and get to the other side. Humanoid coming in as well. Chain's only going to land on one, and the Gnar is enough from BrokenBlade to secure the kill. G2 take out the enemy jungler with 2 seconds left on the dragon.
Are Fnatic going to fight this still? Hylissang's poising forward with no flash.
Hylissang maybe bait here. Humanoid diving in onto Targamas, but Hylissang just can't get away. Feathers go out, but the feathers pulled back do nothing for Fnatic. G2 find another pick.
Yeah, that's going to be a dragon as well. They don't want to go for the bot tier 2. They just want to get this dragon base and go towards the top side. It's going to be an easy secure for them. Razork ends up falling to the engage. Hylissang 0-7 on this Nautilus. Really hasn't found his way in ever since that early bot death. Looking for a dive. And G2 just dominating this game right now.
G2 did a great job of keeping the bot wave in their favor. Also, the moment Fnatic tried to contest that space in the river, G2 immediately pushed them back out of it. And I love how G2 are right now contesting the space. They're not allowing Fnatic to even gain any control around their half of the jungle, and they're saying, every time you want to walk in, we will fight you, and Fnatic just keep getting picked off.
Yeah, G2 just want to be this death ball. Fnatic with this Ornn, they thought they could round out the draft with some kind of team fight engage, but it looks like that just the raw team fight, the raw shielding and health bars that G2 have, they can just walk up to them, and Upset doesn't have the damage to dish out or the front line to buy enough time for him to find the first kill. Another tank item picked up by Jankos, Force of Nature. Now he is practically unkillable with Caps by his side. Fnatic need to find a pick if they want to find a way back into this game.
Could be onto Targamas here. He is isolated in the pit. Jankos spots out Humanoid. Looks like Humanoid's just going to back off. You can see Humanoid doing his best here, constantly looking for opportunities, but things are not going in his favor right now. It is very difficult to find a pick. G2 now once again contesting for that space. Look at how they posture towards Fnatic's half of the jungle, constantly forcing Fnatic to fight them if they want to try and contest this vision.
Humanoid looks through with the damage there. Ultimate now down, and like I said, Vedi, they just want to contest and just keep your eyes on how much of a ball they stay together. Flakked always has members around him. They're kind of escorting him. It's like a buddy system. If he wants to go to midwave, we'll go to midwave. If we don't contest this pink, we're going together. We're not leaving a man behind no matter what. But BrokenBlade has to make Gnar here. Needs to be a bit careful.
Who's going to land? He goes into mini as well before he can get the Gnar out. Jumps away, flashes away. Call of the Forge got eaten up by the shield once again. Cap's now going to join the fray as Fnatic might look to advance. Humanoid at half HP, dashes forward, dashes back. Fnatic realize they got the flash out of BrokenBlade. That's enough.
And that's what happens when G2 splits up. BrokenBlade punished there, has to use his flash. Hylissang
straight into the midst of the onslaught of shadows. Moonlight Vigil coming out as well. Doesn't do too much work as Hylissang flashes, but still gets caught with the final shot from Flakked. G2 now on the advance. Fnatic pushed back towards their inner tier 2.
Flash forwards from Targamas. Razork answers.
And the shields and the heals from G2 mean that they can continue to advance like this. Humanoid's going to try and land the chains. Jankos maybe a little bit overextended, but once again, the Locket shield into the Guardian shield, into the Inspired shield, into the BrokenBlade TP onto the backline with a Gnar. And G2, unrelenting, unstoppable, they push in and they wipe away Fnatic.
G2 is just the shield against the spear that is Fnatic. They cannot pierce through the armor, and G2 once again stay strong. The TP now comes in from Humanoid to try and stop the G2 Baron.
And Humanoid is the helm of the spear. He's the only one with kills for Fnatic right now. We'll see what he can get done. Hylissang by his side. Oh, the escape by Targamas. G2 starting this one up. 20 seconds on Wunder's TP. No smite for Fnatic.
Okay, what we got? Humanoid has Flash, so has Upset, but they haven't got the ultimates to work with. Upset and Hylissang, no depth charge, no feather storms. G2 looking to secure this Baron. Humanoid can do a lot of bursts. Double W combo will wipe out this Baron from about 1,000 HP, but can G2 keep him at bay? He dives in, Humanoid looks for it. Instead, Jankos secures it, the Smite King lands, and G2 get the Baron.
It was a Hail Mary play, and Humanoid knew, no, if he just gives that up, the game's practically over, because G2 will start to siege. Flash forwards from Targamas here, Razork responds, but then the fight splits up. Everyone goes on to Jankos because he's trying to kill Humanoid, and he lives on a sliver of the HP. So many clutch moments coming in here. Targamas jumps forwards with the locket. The Guardian caps, Mantra shields him, I believe, or Flash shields him, just to make sure he's fine. The Moonstone ticks a little bit too, and all the meanwhile, BrokenBlade is doing work.
BrokenBlade dives onto the back line, and again, look at the shielding that comes through from this Karma. Caps knows that his responsibility is not to be a damage dealer. He knows that the best form of offense is defense, and he is just shielding up his team to perfection. G2 coming out on top in the team fights this time round.
Yeah, they don't have to overcomplicate things. They have a very clear plan now. Just play for this Drake in 1 minute. Just keep the waves pushed in. It's on Fnatic to find some kind of pick, some kind of play. Maybe overcommit with 4 members bot and try to kill BrokenBlade. He has no flash. That looks like what they might be doing, but G2 is responding.
Hook going short, depth charge going in as well, but Jankos looking for the flank here. Onslaught Shadows onto the back line. Featherstorm coming out as well. Gets the ultimate out of Upset, and they will be able to hold on to this tower for a moment. We saw a lot of shielding compositions throughout this year. I wonder perhaps as BrokenBlade dives in, catches Humanoid with the wallop. Even when you're invisible, you are not immune to BrokenBlade. A quick kill from the G2 top laner.
Not only did BrokenBlade get the ult, he then predicted the teleport back and landed the stun. Beautiful Gnar mechanics, not what I was expecting to say, but BrokenBlade having a fantastic game as G2 looking for the win.
It's even better because it was Humanoid's flash, so he predicts the flash, gets the kill, Hexgate out, that's going to be Dragon, that's going to be Soul. G2, thumbs up, the be happy. They've got everything they've wanted.
G2 now 10,000 gold ahead of putting Fnatic in the situation that they themselves were in game 1. They have worked them around the map. They found this composition that truly has come online. And suffice to say, G2 have more than one style. Throughout spring, it was BrokenBlade, sometimes it was Caps. But here we see Flakked unleashed on the map.
Yeah, just put the eggs in the Flakked basket, although BrokenBlade's having a fantastic game. Jankos kind of carrying with his base damage along, Caps just being the meaty shield in the mid jungle. And the big question for Fnatic now is, now that G2 have shown this versatility in a style, what's the problem? Is it the Karma or is it the Hecarim? They're probably going to choose blue side and figure out, because now if they win this game, G2, it's a best of 3.
Yeah, I think we have to say that while we did put a lot of focus on Flakked on being that kind of core carry, a lot of the responsibility falling on him, it really has been a whole team effort.
100%,
right? Like, he hasn't really been able to superstar shine. We've seen so many great performances across the board for G2, and this is the teamwork that they have been working towards all split long. You can see Jankos on the flank. He has his eyes on Upset. Both summoner spells are available for the AD carry of Fnatic. As BrokenBlade pushes in the top lane, the Soul in their back pocket. G2 looking to further break into the base of Fnatic.
Baron buff is off, but like you said, the pressure point is going to be BrokenBlade right now. G2 just want to push in waves and move into him. Bot should push by itself because of the super creeps. And they can turn towards Baron, but it's in 3 minutes time. G2 are strong enough to just try to force their way in here. It's Fnatic who are the ones who have to clear these waves. Maybe use an Ornn to peel here, but the problem is they're against the Braum.
It's just so difficult to defend against Hex Soul as well. BrokenBlade on that front line looking for the wallop, gonna get rooted up, but look at the damage going down onto Fnatic just from chips from that Hextech Soul. The AoE lightning chipping away at them, it's true damage, remember, and Humanoid and Wunder have already taken substantial losses to their health bars. BrokenBlade about to go out of the Mega Gnar. No waves really pushed in for G2, but there's 2 super minions pushing in that bottom lane.
I'm glad you noticed that, Medic, because the pings are also coming down from G2. They know that this is just a patience game. Wait for the pressure to mount all across the board. Force Fnatic to split up and then look to strike. They have the wave in top. The waves are stacking in bot. Fnatic is getting desperate.
Root goes down onto Jankos, but Targamas continues just to hold onto his shield. Wunder forced back at half HP, never really got a moment to look into this fight. The wave cleared out without the inhibitor tower going down, but BrokenBlade's shepherded one in the mid lane. This will be the second inhibitor tower for G2, and maybe this second inhibitor to boot. Fnatic looking on their last legs, their last chance to find something in this game, but G2 are not giving them an inch. They've taken a mile this matchup. and Fnatic are forced back once again. Baron up in a minute and a half, Elder in 3.5.
Yeah, I think Elder is going to be Fnatic's last stand, really. I mean, they can hold on until it, and I think their next spike is going to be the Rabadons on Humanoid. Once he gets that, maybe he has the damage to just one-pop Flakked, but again, he has shields, he has stopwatch, he has summoners, and Gale Force, 2 imps down, G2 sieging the last one.
Jankos distracting Wunder down towards the bottom side. Hylissang lands a hook, but where's Humanoid? Where's the follow-up damage? Upset trying to do what he can. Feathers fly out, but the damage from the Infernum as Flakked goes godlike. Burn, baby, burn. Onslaught of Shadows in as well as Jankos looks for the chase onto Wunder. He's forced back underneath his Nexus towers. The concussive blow is about to proc the Hextech Soul, doing so much work. The G2 Cap splashes away, and G2 wipe away Fnatic in their base. First game was quick and dominant from Fnatic, and G2 were having none of that. Once again, G2 Fnatic is always a banger, and G2 are making sure we're at least going to 4. The Nexus Towers are their target, and they will take the Nexus and strike back against Fnatic.
You couldn't ask for more in a series between G2 and Fnatic. As you said, Medic, we are guaranteed 4 games. And this was a completely different G2. I was worried after game 1. Is this just going to be a quick 3-0? Is it just going to be a Fnatic domination? But G2 keeping their cool, showing adaptation, a stronger draft this time round. They're able to control Fnatic, and they end up coming out on top.
Yeah, and a different style they've shown now, of course. I mean, the second the Nexus exploded, you could hear BrokenBlade, Jankos, and Flakked all going, shoo! So they're feeling it. It's a best of 3. The vibes are good. And we have a very good series on our hands now. A lot of thinking to do for both these teams. Does G2 think they found a solution to LeBlanc? Does Fnatic think Hecarim's the problem? Is Karma an issue for the rest of the series? How many tricks does G2 have up their sleeve, or how many responses does Fnatic have?
And what does the AD carry priority become, right? I think that one of the big things for Fnatic is making sure that Upset's in a position where he can 1v9 in any situation, and during the regular season he played a lot of Aphelios. They put a lot of priority on it. Is this something that they actually shift towards once again? A lot of questions as we move further and further into the draft throughout this series.
Well, there always are around these games, and the question as well is with blue side, what are we going to see if a Fnatic going to pick blue? You expect they would? Everyone does at the moment. We'll see if they do it. Now, G2 have brought it back in game 2 and tie up the series 1-1. Let's find out after the break which team will move to match point in game 3.